Finally.
Olrox.
My mom was gonna slice you in two.
Do you know how many vampire hunters have promised to slice me in two?
Olrox is one of the coolest characters in the Nocturne series. One of the reasons for that is that he's just cool as a cucumber. Here he is with someone that you would assume that he should be passionately angry at, but he isn't. He walks slowly and concisely towards them. He lightly chuckles. You can't even tell that he's angry or upset. It's not even like this is personal. It's more like this is a debt that has to be paid, not for an emotional response. And staying cool and calm, being able to be analytical through really strong emotional reactions takes a lot of higher upper brain mediation, which is kind of suppressing the emotional limbic response, the middle part of your brain that deals with emotions and memories. But the cognitive part, which deals with analytics and logistics, is the one that you can tell takes over. And he's analytical through everything. It's really, really cool. Even after this huge, heated battle, something that you would think he would feel some sort of relief, there's been a vendetta that's been paid, he still just slowly and calmly looks over at Richter. It's so much easier to dislike someone that's angry and vicious and mean and cruel. But for Orlox, he's cold and calculated and analytical and doing things because he believes what is right or what he feels like he has to do. And people that are more meticulous, that are thought out, are those that use that analytical part of their brain more often than the emotional part. And you can tell that he has practiced himself to be able to control his emotions very well. And odds are because that is what has helped him survive.
Ah, little boy Belmont. I know that feeling.
He doesn't need to tower over Richter, and I think that that's really important. A lot of people that enjoy power, that hunger for that, like to show their strength, make other people feel small. Orlox goes down, so he's almost eye to eye with Richter. He wants him to understand, but he brings him to his level. And I think that that's something that I wouldn't expect from him, especially in this opening scene when we see him as this horrible vampire that just killed his mother.
That pain, that hate, that burning, unendurable need for retribution. Your mama took someone from me I loved just as much as you loved her.
His reasoning for killing her is also really understandable. For a lot of people that we see as the hero in a story, they've had to avenge the death of someone that they loved, of someone that they cared about that was taken from them. We empathize with people whose motivation would be one that we might feel exactly the same about, or at least understand. And it's much more difficult to just look at him as a bad guy and throw judgment his way.
Oh, I could kill you too, and I will. One day. But not tonight.
And that's the really interesting thing, is that if he was just this cold-blooded killer vampire, why wouldn't he just get rid of Richter? Tasty little tiny snack, stop someone else from claiming retribution upon him. But he understands it. He actually says, one day you're gonna want revenge as well, and he accepts that, and he's going to allow him to grow to adulthood. I believe that he feels that that's the natural order of things, that Richter deserves to be able to have his retribution as well, but he doesn't feel that it would be a fair fight or even just. He doesn't kill little people just because he can. And that also adds another layer to why Olrox is such a very cool character. And it's so dispassionate the way that he just walks over her. He doesn't step on her, which he could. He doesn't make her look horrible. He doesn't take her with her. He doesn't even feed on her. Her death was just a payment that had to be paid. When we want revenge, often it's this passionate, I want to make someone pay, I want them to suffer. The only thing though is that at the end, after you get your revenge, the thing that you lost is not returned to you. If you were even insulted or slighted, that still has happened. And so it's one of these internal things that often when people have received the revenge that they hoped that they would get, they don't actually feel that relief that they would hope that they felt. I think that for Orlox, he said that it was passionate, it was visceral, that he felt all of these things, but it seems like he has practiced to have exceptionally good emotional control, which you can actually do. You can be able to rein in your emotions. Remember that emotions, just like any other skill, can be trained. You can practice yourself to be calm under pressure, to be able to feel anger but not act on it. The way that you express the way that you feel is often the way that we were shown from parents. But it seems that from Orlox, he's trained himself to be able to be calm no matter what the circumstance. For him, that probably is what has led to his ability to survive. You see that flash that Olrox does when he watches Mizrak fighting, practicing his swordsmanship? His eyes actually flash wider, which does actually happen when we see something that we want or we see something that we like. Usually though, our pupils, when we like something, will dilate. They'll become larger. That's why a lot of people that play poker or that deal in fine gems will wear sunglasses so that you can't tell their pupils dilate when they see something that they really like. That flash also definitely happens, and you can see that from Olrox. He sees something in Mizrak just from those few movements. Probably it's how focused and intense he is. Just in case you're worried, I'm going to go through a whole video just on Olrox and Mizrak's relationship all on its own right after this one. So we're not going to be dealing with it right now because I think their relationship deserves a video of their own.
This one, he was just an opportunist, following the Messiah because she's powerful. There are those who love her, so I'm told.
He knew right away, just from looking at him, that he was following Erzsébet just because of her power, not because he believed. There are people that are able to take a look at someone and be able to know their intentions and be able just to read their micro expressions, even after seeing them just for a few seconds. So people can actually do this. And I think that for Orlox, this isn't even one of his vampiric powers. I would assume that this is something that he's had since very young. He knows that there are people that love her truly as well. And so he's letting her know that I know a lot about you.
I'm Olrox. She's expecting me.
Of course. The Aztec.
Just sailed in, loving France.
And then without another word, he just walks off. It's just kind of cool. That ability in social engineering is underplayed in society. To be able to understand what other people's intentions are, what they want from certain situations, what they don't want, what are their motivations, and what are their weaknesses. For anyone, especially people though, that are dealing with people in power or trying to work their way up in business or their careers. This knowledge is probably one of the most powerful skills you can have, because if you understand what someone's weaknesses are and you understand what they want, you can use that to your own advantage. So it definitely is his own way of playing this political game as a game of chess.
Striking terror in the hearts of children, I see.
So it's really interesting who he chose to eat. He could have chose the young beggar, the person that was down and out, the person that would be forgotten, that no one cares about. But instead, who does he prefer?
I prefer my blood blue.
The elite. He's now saved Richter Belmont, even though he knows that he's going to want to enact revenge against him, and the young beggar boy. And when you have choices, the choices that you make tell a lot about your personality. So he definitely has something against the elites versus those that are in the lower classes. And so right away you go, why does he do this? Something that other people would rather take the person that's no one's going to care about, that's going to cause the least amount of stir. He has selected someone of higher power, and that's who he wants to feed on. He doesn't feel bad for getting rid of them.
But over here, we don't feed off the wealthy.
I didn't realize how invested you are in keeping the mortals happy.
We're in an uneasy alliance with the humans in this town. For now.
And you can tell the way that he's looking at Jalta. What he is doing is he's trying to gather information. He wants to take a look at what the power dynamics are. And one of the best ways to do that is just to ask someone questions, to let them tell you what they're doing and why. A lot of people really enjoy, especially when they're passionate about something, they want to share all this information. And so even though that is kind of one of those tropes that the bad guy, whoever it is going to want to unveil their plan, humans are exceptionally like this. They want to share the things that they care about to anyone that wants to listen.
It disgusts me too. Making deals with them, feeding on peasants only in exchange for some influence among the aristocracy.
She says, it bothers me too. Like, you and I are the same. We both feel that way. And Orlox doesn't say yes or no, but he allows her to make this assumption. We often, especially with people that we like or we look up to or we want to gain favor with, we often, if they don't state something specific, we will see in them, we will reflect what we want to see back. So a lot of times, if you don't share the information, someone will make assumptions depending on how you react to something. And because Orlox is so calm and analytical, he's not giving off many clues of how he actually feels. Though you can see it in a little bit the way that he side-eyes Jalta instead of looking at her softly. He doesn't look down or even turn his head much to be able to talk to her unless he has to.
Enduring that man in the abbey in exchange for his night creatures.
The sun will rise soon. Shouldn't you get back to the chateau?
Where are you staying?
Oh, that was completely a purr. Jalta also likes Orlox, doesn't she? Or is she sweet-talking him just to find out where he might be staying so that she can find out more about him? I think it's the former, and she just likes him and wants to know where he might be staying. And Orlox, that little chuckle, like, this is definitely not the first person that has hit on him.
There's an inn on the other side. It's good, quiet.
Private.
I like to keep my ear to the ground.
Yeah, she's definitely smitten, that little tiny bow that she does to him. And he does give up a little bit of information that that's what he does. He likes to figure out the entire game at play before he decides to make his moves.
Not long now.
Before dawn. I could tell without ever watching. The instant the sun comes up, some quality in the air changes.
We all feel it. It's dread.
You see, again, she assumes, but the way that he speaks, it seems like it's a warmth or it's an understanding or something that he lost or doesn't have anymore. Versus the reaction of Jalta definitely is that she fears the sun, which makes a lot of sense for being a vampire. We often give up a lot of information by the intonations and those micro-expressions or body reactions that someone takes when someone is saying something. If we curl up or we tense back or even if we flinch, it's giving off information of how we're emotionally feeling. The emotions that we feel often cause physiological and universally physiological reactions in humans. Across all different cultures, the feelings of disgust, anger, sadness, fear, happiness, all have the same physiological reactions. And you know if something is a universal biological truth to all people, that it was something that was beneficial for our survival and adaptive.
Imagine total freedom, never shrinking from light.
I don't waste my time imagining things that will never be.
But it will be, Olrox.
He's saying that he does not believe things just by being told. He's not someone that will just follow the flock easily. There are some people that will listen to hype and want to fall into that. There are people that might be better as followers. But for him, he's going to take everything and then analyze it and then decide whether he feels comfortable and will follow because that's the smartest move or not.
Across Europe, vampires are pledging their allegiance to Aztec Battery. Will you be next?
I've never been a believer of any kind.
And that's really cool. For him to state that to Erzsébet's second in command, his closest person who he already knows loves her, takes a lot of ego strength, but also an understanding of his own standing. I'm probably going to say Erzsébet. Erzsébet? I'm going to say it wrong every single time. I apologize. Don't put it down in the comments. I'm sorry. I'm going to do my best that I can. It's not even the teeth. It's me. I'm sorry.
Maybe I need to see to believe. I've heard she's very formidable.
Like, it's such an underplay. One is I need to see it to believe. So all of your hype means nothing to me, and it might even diminish my feelings about it. But if I see something that is worthy of following, perhaps then I'll believe. That is an exceptionally strong statement, and some people that might have weaker ego strength could even see that as a challenge.
Formidable, wonderful, a lioness. Evil trembles before her.
Jalta just loves her. Like, it's more than she worships her, she loves her. The way that she's speaking about her, it's not fear, it's adoration. And they're in a relationship together, so that makes a lot of sense that she feels so very strongly.
We've seen empires rise and fall, Olrox. Mortals are fickle.
And when Jalta is speaking about we, she's trying to make him feel a part of them. She wants to bring him into the fold. Saying I or they pushes people away and makes us feel like we're not welcome, we're not a part of it. So she's doing a good job, but she isn't reading that for Olrox, he's not just going to believe something because someone else said it. So most of her words are falling on deaf ears.
Let's make a new world, Olrox.
You see, that's another one I've heard before.
And let's make it last.
He's jaded. When you've been through and seen so many of the same thing happen with different players, there's much less of a chance that you are going to just follow the flock and believe it. It hardens you. It makes you question things. It might also make you question your own role in that. And that can be both a benefit and a curse. And for Olrox, he doesn't want to make the wrong move in this, and he seems to have more of a personal stake than he's letting on.
Long ago, when I was still human, I watched men wade ashore from ships and slaughter my people. Who could have believed such a thing? They said they were doing it for their god.
That gives us the motivation that he has, why he doesn't bow to the sight of power, why he isn't in adoration of things that are powerful or elite or that everyone else will worship, why gods don't matter to him. He has seen what happens at the hands of people that say that they know the answer, that they are powerful, that they are gods, that God is making them do this. He has a distaste for it. And you would say maybe after 250 years that this would go away, that this feeling, that this burning, when we take something that we've gone through our childhood or when we were young, and for him, when he was human, and it hurt us, it mattered us, it leaves an imprint, it makes us who we are. And for Olrox, this is the thing that drives him. This is why he feeds on the rich, why he doesn't bow down just to anyone.
Behold, the one before whom evil trembles, devourer of light, taker of souls, vampire lioness, she who mauls, the messiah of...
Yes, charmed to meet you.
I just love it. He's like, I'm so done with this. Can we please just stop? He's disgusted by this show of how powerful that she is, that she has to have all of these different titles. It definitely reminds me of the Game of Thrones scene with Jon Snow and Daenerys, where we first see them coming in, and Jon Snow's just Jon Snow. He cuts her off. This is a huge sign of disrespect, but he doesn't care. He can't actually stomach it, even though he probably, if he thought twice, it would be more polite and a better strategic move if he just let her prattle on with whatever she wanted to say so that it didn't show how much disdain he has. That show of narcissism for someone to have to be worshipped, to have all of this fanfare and gold and titles, right away that shows that someone is in need of being fed. They have narcissistic traits, which already you can tell that Orlox is not into. He wants something that's more real, that's focused, that's intense, that matters to him, something more tangible, that people like Erzsébet I think I did that right. Like people like Erzsébet have taken from others that feed on the weak, and he doesn't respect that.
You're meant to bow.
Countess?
Her magnificence has heard much about you.
I'm flattered. For a god to have heard of me.
You can tell there is a touch of sarcasm with the way that he speaks. He doesn't actually respect her. That, for Olrox, would have to be earned, not just given. A lot of people that have been through that are often coming out with oppositional traits. They're not just going to do something because it's easy or because they're told to. It has to have a reason. It has to have a validity. And for Olrox, he needs to know the reasons why, and then perhaps he would. Still not sure that he would.
And once they see my beauty, all will worship me.
Do you see that little bit of scowl that he gives when she says that everyone will worship me because of my beauty? Not because she has earned it, just because she is powerful and beautiful. And you can see the disdain in his eyes. Even though he's reserved, he's not able to mask that micro expression. But because they are so involved in their own aura, they don't even notice, which often happens with people that lean more towards narcissistic traits. They're so self-involved that they're not even paying attention to what you're doing or not doing. The thought that he would be betraying them or thinking anything else or not worshiping them doesn't even come into play for them. They expect it, so much so that they don't even question his loyalty.
But you want to accomplish this through an alliance with a man who will never worship you?
I'm a goddess.
He's not as impressed as everyone else is with her little tiny dark ball that she keeps on flashing about.
Of course.
Bow, I said.
Like the tiniest, teeniest bow, right? Like usually the deeper that you bow, the more sign of respect that you are giving to someone else. It would be the smarter of the place. For someone that is so analytical, it would be the smarter of the place to fully bow, for them to believe that he's fully on board and then he can do whatever he wants. He can't. It's one of those things that he has an opposition to. When we can't do something, even though it would be more strategically sound to do it, there is probably someone in his past that he has been forced to show allegiance to or bow to, and that bothered him. Even having a very strong parental figure can make you have this opposition that I'm never going to just bow or give in to anyone because they ask. And it's interesting because we often go through saying these oppositional traits are bad and people should be more obedient, but actually these are also traits of strong leaders, people that you would want to follow, because they're not just going to follow and believe anything. They're going to need proof and think about it and analyze it first.
I will make the abbot worship me.
Everyone has a weakness. Priests, dragons.
We will lean to the video on Olrox and Mizrak that do they know that he cares for him? And perhaps he cares for him more than he's letting on.
Behold, the devourer of light.
Impossible.
So in that moment, he does see, though, how powerful she really is. She is able to create a complete eclipse. Or she knows the cosmology and is able to time this perfectly to be when there was already an eclipse happening. Not as cool. And it goes back to the, does he need proof? Is this enough proof for him to follow Erzsébet? For people of his personality type, they would need more. People that are analytical, calculated, looking through things, they need more than just someone being able to show something really powerful. They also usually like a certain set of character traits with someone, and those would be the traits that they would want to follow. Someone that they would actually look up to and trust, or at least that's in alignment with what they would believe.
A forge master usually has a talisman or tool. We need to find it.
He has a machine.
So he's already picked a side. He has chosen to cross Erzsébet because that's what he believes is the right thing to do, even though he's giving it to Richter Belmont, who wants him dead. So for him, there is a greater good beyond himself, beyond his own safety, and this puts him at great risk, but he's choosing to do it anyway. He has his own moral compass that he follows. For most people, they will put themselves over anything that they believe, but for someone that truly believes something or feels something deeply, and for Orlox, I believe that that's because of all the things that he's gone through, the people that he's seen die at hands of people like Erzsébet, and how he needs to have it stopped.
Don't make me have to fight you.
Why won't you face me?
Make sure you destroy the machine.
You do it.
Right now, I can't be seen to be doing anything.
And the reason that he can't be seen doing anything is because they've already threatened him. I don't believe that it's that he cares about his own welfare, but that they've already threatened him, that they know what he cares about, which is Mizrak, and he needs to make sure to keep him safe, so he can't show his cards too quickly.
You expect me to trust my mother's killer?
I could have killed you 3 times now. Ironic, I think, for both of us. But now, I need a Belmont.
And it's true, he could have killed him already a whole bunch of times, but he chose not to. You don't have to find a victim to take a bite out of any subject you want with today's sponsor, Brilliant.org. To learn a new skill, get prepared for whatever life has to throw at you. Learn, enjoy, grow with Brilliant's ever-growing new set of courses. Brilliant makes college-level courses available to help you be smart as a whip. Each course is designed for high-velocity learning to help you stay focused and reach your goals Belmont fast. And Brilliant makes learning like a game with fun features to let you challenge yourself and compete with others, so it never gets boring. And we also know that learning's more fun and engaging, and if it is, it makes learning stick better, so you'll remember more easily and quickly. And Brilliant has thousands of lessons, from foundational to advanced math, data science, neural networks, and more, with new lessons being added monthly. I did their course on geometry, where I got to solve problems and look differently at how I look at the shapes around me. I enjoyed the interactivity, but also that I could break down each of the lessons into even smaller bite-sized pieces, so I could learn at the pace that I wanted, no stress. They also have new courses on how technology works and thinking in code. So if you're still not sure, why don't you just try everything that Brilliant has to offer for free? Yes, free for a full 30 days. Just visit brilliant.org/Georgia Dow or click on the link in the description. The first 200 people will get 20% off Brilliant's annual premium subscription. So click on the button on the screen or head on over to brilliant.org/Georgia Dow. Clicking on that button really does help out this channel, so thank you so much, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Those are the reasons that I think Olrox makes such an interesting character, because you don't always know why he's doing things, and it makes you have to think twice of his motivations. These are my favorite scenes of Olrox. You can let me know what your favorite scenes are in the comments below.